I've seen families that God blessed so lavishly, and they buy gadgets and things that they don't need because they want to be like every other person. So remember that you are a steward, even when money comes. Two are better than one. If he had 20 naira and I had 10 naira, we put it together, we can do more with 30 naira than if he was spending his 20 alone and I was spending my 10 alone.
Now, let me quickly say that when money comes, okay, even when we agree that it is our money, you know, for instance, the way we spend it is also important, isn't it? You know, I know that there are people who resort to budgeting, you know, the budget. And, you know, because you don't have endless resources. The money that comes in, actually, I've not seen anybody that said, look, I have enough money. And by the way, money comes with a list. Money comes with a list. And so when money comes, if you don't budget, if you don't plan for the money, you'll find yourself spending it. Like what some people do is that they are just walking through the Amado Bello Street, and without them planning to buy anything, they suddenly see something that they like, then they pick it. You remember something happened years back, you know, when our children were still small. I took them to what was known as Bata shop that time to buy shoes for the children, not me. And when we got into Bata, suddenly I stumbled on one shoe that I liked. I didn't plan to buy a shoe. So after buying for the children, then I bought the shoe without even thinking. Without discussing it with her. Because we don't spend money like that. We usually discuss, particularly anything exceeding a particular amount, we used to discuss. So after I bought it, then that was when the Holy Spirit prompted me. But you didn't discuss your shoe. You didn't come here to buy shoe for yourself. So I didn't know how to get out of it. And I started thinking of how I was going to tell my wife that I also bought a shoe for myself. And I tell you, I became miserable at that particular time.
We actually prayed for God to forgive us for not, because the fact that God has brought in money because He's the source, whatever channels He uses, doesn't mean that we are now the owners. He owns it. We should talk with Him. We should be guided by Him. I've seen families that God blessed so lavishly, and they buy gadgets and things that they don't need because they want to be like the Joneses. They want to be like every other person. They change a car that is good and working. They change the seats that are beautiful and strong. They begin to go out to eat excessively so that they don't have to cook at home because there is money. So remember that you are a steward, even when money comes. We have to seek the mind of God on the direction He wants us to channel it.
You know, my wife and I actually never earned any big salary anywhere. Because when we got married in 1981, I was still a student. She was the one that was working. Of course, eventually she had to leave work to join me in school, where both of us were on scholarship. You know, I went to school. I was working with government before going for further studies, but I had not actually reached the period stipulated by government for you to go on in-service. So it means that I had to leave, not to go for study leave without pay, which means that my only source of income was scholarship. And that was when we got married with her. Now, I remember for the first 2 months or so of our wedding, it was her salary that we were feeding him. What she earned, that was our. But when we got back to school, both of us, and were on scholarship, our only means of livelihood was what? Was the scholarship money. But you know what? 2 years we lived on scholarship, and we never went to bed hungry. Now, for you to understand also the fact that a family should see God as the source of their what? Of their income, is that God, even when we went to school, God provided where we lived. He supplied where we lived. We have never paid rent for almost 44 years of our marriage. Let me quickly say that when money has come in, budgeting is very important. And we learn to live within our means. we learn to live within our means. Like my wife said, don't spend more than you earn. And don't buy on credit. That is something that we have not done. Anything that God has not provided, my wife and I took it that that thing is not necessary. And I can tell you that we work and retire. You know, the only time we borrowed money was in 1989 to buy our first car. That was when we took loan to buy our first car. And after that, and you know, it took 3-4 years for us to pay that. But to just take loan to buy things like that, no. Then one of the things that we also develop before you come in is that we develop a saving culture. From the little money that we're earning, you know, we learn to set aside part of it as savings. And that began way back in 1986 when we were in Maiduguri. That was when we opened a savings account. So we began saving that time. And no matter how little, we were dropping something by the side. But I want to say also that it came to a point that we started saving to buy foodstuff at the end of the year. So from January, we were setting aside certain amount of money. We knew exactly how much rice we needed in the house, how much beans we needed in the house, how much maize, guinea corn, and all those other things, palm oil, granite oil, and all the things that are needed in a family. We started saving for that so that by November, December, we used to buy our food in bulk. And I want to tell you, from that time, more than 30-something years ago, if you see us in the market, is to buy things like soup ingredients, but not to buy the real things that you can keep over a period of time. Yes, Dad?
Yes, from what my husband has shared, it's very clear that two are better than one. And I want to read from Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9 to 12. It says, two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, one will lift up his companion. But woe to him who is alone when he falls, for he has no one to help him up. Again, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one be warm alone? Though one may be overpowered by another, two can withstand him. And a threefold cord is not quickly broken. You see, two are better than one. He had scholarship, I had, we brought it together.
Yes.
We removed our tithes and what we need for moving around. Then the rest was about the one that was free for us to plan what to buy with. So two are better than one. If he had 20 naira and I had 10 naira, we put it together, we can do more with 30 naira than if he was spending his 20 alone and I was spending my 10 alone. Many of you earn much, much, much more than that. Yes. But you are still borrowing because everybody is on his own. You know that you would have gone far if you were working together. Sometimes you find a wife, because of lack in the house, she can go and start borrowing. Some women have borrowed and plunged the family into trouble. Some men have borrowed and plunged the family into trouble because they are not discussing. They are not agreeing on what to do. But woe to him who is alone when he falls. So if the husband hits the rock and enters the hand of creditors, the boy will be saying, I've been telling him. Since he doesn't listen, that's his problem. It becomes his problem. While my husband's problem should be my problem. And mine should be his. So working together is very important. If two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one be warm alone? It is not just lying down in bed here, but the warmth of counsel, the warmth of ideas, the warmth of the ways out. For instance, where the idea of buying food in bulk came from one of us, and the other agreed, and we started doing it. So there is warmth of counsel. And when there is a battle, difficulties, now we are in tough times in this nation and I think all over the world.
Another thing that we need to say here is, some people say that they earn too little. How can they save from that? But one thing that we learn is that actually it is not about how much you earn, but how well you manage what you earn. You can earn as little. I don't want to tell you the figures that we earned before, but I say that despite that, we develop a saving culture and we're saving. And do you know that even now, my wife and I, every week, there is a small amount that we drop by the side. And what do you plan to save? You don't even plan with it because it is not your money. And that's what we have done over the years.